Yay Networks.
Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. I'm your host, Sybil Amuti, and I can't wait for you to hear all of the Great Girlfriend magic on today's show. So without further ado, grab something great to drink, grab your pen and your paper, and get ready for this week's episode. Enjoy! I'm doing my French shimmy today. French shimmy, French shimmy, French shimmy, French shimmy. I am so happy, great girlfriends. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you're having a great day, no matter where you are, near or far. I hope that you've had a chance to check in with some of your great girlfriends. I hope you've had a chance to listen to a few episodes of the podcast, and I hope you're depositing some love and light into someone else's life today. I have the privilege, privilege of being joined today by someone who is a great girlfriend, a sister, a wife, a mother, a DEI leader. She's a mental wealth expert. She's an advocate for women and girls. She is a sorority sister to so many. She's an amazing woman who I love and adore, Dr. Angela Anderson. Hey, Dr. Angela.
So, do you want me to just cry right out of the gate or what?
Well, I mean, if you have a tear or two, I like tears because I feel like, Oprah makes everyone cry. And so I would like that. One of my goals on my podcast is to make every guest cry or tell me something they've never told anyone. So which one do you want to do? You could cry or you could tell me a deep, dark secret. Which one?
How about we just let's just let it fly and see what happens. You could do both. Who knows, right? We'll go with the flow.
Maybe you tell me a deep, dark secret and then cry. No, but no, last year it was so funny, Angela. I promise you. And don't get it twisted, great girlfriends. You call her Dr. Angela, but I get to call her Angela. But for those of you listening, you call her Dr. Angela. Last year on the podcast, I mean, if you go back and listen, and Casey was here in the studio for these episodes, people would say, oh my God, I've never said this publicly before. Oh my God, I don't think I've announced this with my brand. Oh my God, my manager's going to kill me, but I'm doing this. Everybody was just dropping all of these new, and I was like, oh, you hear it first on the Great Girlfriend. So I'm just not surprised if you tell me that you got a new book coming or a new speaking engagement or a tour or something magnificent.
So you know why that is, right? You know why that is? Because you create the space for people to feel comfortable. And they feel like they can create a sense of trust with you. And so that's really a testament to you and the platform that you created here at the Great Girlfriends, that happens. That's not by accident. I hope you know that.
Thank you. I'm telling you, that's my goal. I'm like, when you get in this space, you need to feel like you're at home. You need to feel free. You need to feel like there is no limit, right? And you need to feel like, you need to feel like what you say here is going to open every essential door in your life, because I do believe that you never know who's listening. You never know what door can open, and you never know which relationships are going to be the ones that really, really just blow your mind. So I'm like, that's what the Great Girlfriend space is.
Well, that comes from you, right? Like your why is very clear when you create this space for us. And so as much as you're excited that I'm here, I'm equally, if not more excited to be here, because we're selective with where we put our time. And so I believe in what you're doing. I think that what you're doing is amazing. I think lives are being changed because of it. And so anytime we get a chance to have a conversation, I'm like, yes, 100%.
Oh, I love you. So Angela, Dr. Angela, I should say, so that the people know how to speak to you properly. I want to know what this new year looks like for you. And I want to also, I actually have an announcement. I don't know if I should share with them now, if you want me to share with them now, but I have an announcement. Should I make my announcement?
Sure,
because you didn't make it. Well, I've invited Dr. Angela to come on and be our mental wealth expert. Yes! Round of applause! Round of applause! We're going to have mental wealth in 2024, great girlfriends. And we have someone who is an expert in this space, willing to come on each month and guide us through essential conversations that will help to stimulate our minds, body, and spirits and get us aligned for the year that we have been waiting for. So I'm super honored, Angela. And I was like, is she going to say yes if I ask her to do this? Or is she going to be like, girl, I am triple booked? Well, I was just happy. I was like, well, you could come on a Great Girlfriends if you want to.
Yes.
If you want to, I'd love to have you. Because I just think you light up, you light up the room with essential wisdom.
Mm.
Essential wisdom that you have been nestled in through experience, through learnings. It's not new. It's
Yeah.
it's baby girl.
It's my
This is
why.
what it's your why.
It's my
It's your
why.
why. And it is so when you articulate and share the wisdom that you share, Angela, it resuscitates people, and I've witnessed it. And
Mm.
I get to like I get to experience it personally. And when I see when it happens to people who are new to you, I'm like, yep, they came into contact with her gift. They've been exposed to her gift.
So I received that, but I just have to tell you, like when I was listening to you talk about all those things, and you're like, she's this, she's that. I always say that, the most important title I have is God's daughter, and everything else
Mm,
is a branch of that. And so what
yeah.
you're talking about is evidence of that. And
Mhm.
so oftentimes I am amazed at how things come through me to other people. And I know that it isn't because of anything that I thought about beforehand or planned. That's why I was like, let's just go with the flow. Let's see what happens. And it'll happen exactly the way it's supposed to.
Mhm, mhm. It will. It always does. It always does.
Honestly,
Well, that preparedness is because you are not just educated in what you do, but you're experienced in it. You practice living out wisdom daily.
yeah, it's
You
very
do that.
intentional. And like you said, I love the fact that you reference it as a gift because I feel that you have the same thing, right? And so when there's a responsibility that comes with executing and living out a gift. It doesn't really
Yeah,
belong to us. We just have the
right.
privilege of carrying it. And so when you look at it like that, that's where that intention comes from.
Mhm. Oh,
So the question
yeah.
that you asked me before we started talking was, what was I thinking about when I came into this year? And you and I had a conversation to say, okay, what does 2024 look like? And I selected a word for this year. I don't know if you selected a word. Did you?
I did.
We haven't shared it with each other yet.
No, we haven't.
So this is about to be interesting. So
Okay.
my word for 2024 is abundance.
Mhm.
And it is abundance in all things according to God's plan. That's the fullness of what my expectation is for this year. And
Mhm.
so I thought about, am I positioned for abundance? And what do I need to achieve first in order to be ready for abundance? And I thought, hey, that needs to be comfortable. I have to be comfortable with peace and I have to be comfortable with joy. And so I was like, we should talk about this. How do we prioritize peace and joy? So, I love a good acronym, Sybil. And of course,
I'm ready
when
for
I
it.
was thinking about this, I thought about it. So we think about peace. The P, and I want to get your take on this,
Mhm.
is we have to first pause and we have to pray about it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
We are so inundated with the phones and email and the internet and social media. We don't pause really. And
Mhm.
I didn't realize how stimulated I was by all these things until I started to systematically eliminate them one by one to
Mhm.
create quiet.
Mhm.
And the things that I was able to think about and do once I did that, I could hear, right? I had clear direction. And so the P, as we reclaim peace, is to pause and pray about it.
Mhm. Mhm.
The E is that we have to expect detours and distractions.
Mm.
And why was that important? Because we'll have this plan about how our lives are supposed to go, and
Mhm.
then something changes and it throws us off track. But if we accept distractions as part of the journey, they don't accept really upset us as much, right? So
Right.
just expect that distractions are coming. Um, the A is that we have to accept the lessons that come with that.
Mhm.
And so if we're trying to prioritize peace, if we are expecting the delays, there are lessons in those delays and distractions. So we have to accept them. The C is that we have to celebrate the small wins. So not get so consumed by just making these big Instagram moments.
Girl.
Celebrate the things that people don't see, those
Yeah.
small victories, right? And then E, and then I want to get your reaction, is that we have to embrace change.
Mm.
That's the E. And so if we do that, I think we
So
welcome
good.
and we create this space for abundance.
I love it so much. First of all, I love your word, and I think that it's so fitting for you. I think you are abundant. So I think that abundance
I receive
being
that.
yeah, you are. You're fully abundant. So I think that that word being your word for the year is just that reciprocity in how you experience what you already are. I think it's gonna fill you up in a way that reminds you of how abundant you
Mhm.
actually are. So, great girlfriends, I'm back. New year, and there are so many new ways that you can save time and energy and money in the kitchen, starting with my favorite meal kit, Factor. Factor is amazing simply because not only are the meals delicious, but they are all pre prepped in microwave safe containers that take like 2 minutes or less to warm up and set the table for your family without having to do all the extra knickknack of being in the kitchen. So, if you're like me and you have that holiday fatigue where you cooked so much and you ate so much and you really kind of lost track of like what to eat and when because you want to keep yourself on a really regimented schedule, Factor is here to save your life and mine. They've got meals that are keto, calorie smart, vegan plus, veggie, and more. And then they have over 55 weekly add ons. So you have a whole lot of options that are nutritious and flavorful. Trust me, Sam and Dylan are super happy when we get a Factor meal. I also love that the variety of meals is so vast that each and every member of my family is satisfied with a Factor meal. So it's super cool because on top of that, Factor has loads of snacks like breakfast smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep us going no matter where we are in the day's schedule. So if we're at the top of the morning and we want a great breakfast, or for midday, need a snack, or if we're at the end of day and looking for a really delicious, quick to serve dinner. So I'm happy with Factor, and I know you will be too. Plus, I'm happy with Factor's pricing, and I'm happy with the fact that Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than any takeout meal you could ever order. So you're getting chef crafted, restaurant quality meals delivered right to your door for the win. And they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you, more time for me, more time for our families, more self care time, whatever you want to do with your self time, all together, more time. So here's what you're going to do. Head to factormeals.com/girlfriends50 and use codes girlfriends50 to get 50% off. That's code girlfriends50 at factormeals.com/girlfriends50 to get 50% off. I love the acronym as well. And I think the one that there's a few that we get challenged by all the letters actually. And hello, she does. I do. But you know what I mean? Like we get challenged by all the letters because the pause and pray is big for us. We want to pray on the run, and we like to pray like to pray
Right?
like in the Chick-fil-A line talking about, "Can I get a number 10?"
A
And Jesus.
drive-through prayer. No.
No, no. He can't hear between the order and your prayer. Like he's like thrown off by that. Like that's not
Yeah,
it. But we like to do it on the run, and we also like to do it in response to challenges. We don't like
absolutely.
to get ahead of life through prayer. And so I feel like that for us is going to be breakthrough when we learn how to take that time of that stillness, that pausing, expecting nothing but giving our spiritual life that nurture it needs.
Yeah.
That is a game changer. It
Yeah.
truly is. It truly is. That for us will be for those of us that have been incredibly busy or fill our calendars or just have so much going on. Don't be intimidated by that moment. Trust it.
Right.
Don't run from it. Don't turn the sound up. Don't try to don't let a distraction take away that pause. Like let that moment, right? Let that moment fill us up in the way that it should because I do, Angela, I feel like our good sister Sherry Riley talks about peace is the new success. She's been
Yes.
saying this forever, ever, ever, ever. And if we can get that P down, all the rest of the things
Will fall in place,
will
right?
fall in place. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
expecting distractions means that I have for me, means I have a spiritual preparedness that,
Yes.
yeah, I'm already anchored. So when that
Yeah.
distraction hits, it doesn't rock me the way it would have if I didn't expect it, because I understand and I'm armored in the right way, spiritually armored
Yeah.
to weather and respond to the distractions in the right way. They don't,
Yeah.
and like you say, distractions, we think sometimes like we sometimes when you're off balance spiritually, I think sometimes we think that that is an indicator that we are off track completely, like that a distraction will mean we're off track. Meaning, all right,
Yeah.
when I'm not spiritually grounded, if a storm hit today, it might mean that I'm never supposed to do this podcast again. Maybe that distraction was a sign because I don't had a spiritual anchor to know that it was just a
Mhm.
distraction. I will let that thing derail me from like purpose and
Yeah.
an assignment.
Yeah. And here's the thing is about perspective, right? So
Yeah.
when you were saying we have to be still, I'm like, God is not a short order cook. We
Right.
can't just say, give me this, give me this, give me that, and then expect that it's just gonna, pop up. We have to take that time.
Yeah.
But there's the reason why I say expect is because when we expect something, we accept it as part of the journey. It's exactly what you're saying. And so some people, when those distractions or those detours come, to your point, they would say, oh, I'm on the wrong path. I shouldn't do this. When in actuality, it could be, it's so great that all of these distractions are coming to delay that breakthrough or that greatness. And so
Yeah.
when I have seasons that are particularly challenging, and let me just say, I've had a few of them, I
Yeah.
will say, whatever is on the other side of this must be amazing because
Mhm.
the number of distractions that have come in the way of getting from A to B have been so numerous. That's how bad, like, the enemy wants
Yep.
to keep me away from it. So I'm that much more determined to go after
Yeah.
it.
Well, you
Yeah.
talked me off the ledge. If we're being honest, you talked me off the ledge of derailment in December because remember, I was 23 was like, oh my, what? Like, it was like raining peas and lima beans in my life. It was just so many weird and just unexpected occurrences happening that I felt like the winds of circumstance were pushing me towards decisions that I felt forced into.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time seeing a way out of these things. I was like, maybe I'm missing God by believing too hard over here, and these
Mhm.
circumstances are pushing. And so, me, I'm just going. I'm like, God, if I'm missing you, you gonna send me a ram, and the ram's name was Dr. Angela, and
Oh, and I didn't even know. I was like, I'm thinking it's one of those things, right? So obedience and being open to divine guidance, like you just rose in my spirit, and I was like, oh, I need to, and I will drop it. Like I'm going to pay attention to that
yes,
thing right then. So I didn't even know
she didn't
what
know,
was
great
happening.
girlfriend. She didn't know, but and when she hit me up, I said, "You will not believe this. I have been texting you in my head off and on for a week now. I have been wanting to call you, but and this is just all transparent. I was feeling so heavy. I was like, I'm too heavy to make this call. I'm too heavy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wanna just dump on Angela. Like, I don't wanna ever be in that space, but I needed to express it, and when I told you on that phone, because you resuscitated me, you were like, "Yeah, no, this is not the spiritually, this is" You did. You listened to me and
I
you
was like,
respectfully
no, ma'am.
declined. Yeah. You're like, "This is not the way God is positioning you. This is not how your year is gonna end. The assignment is, these are just distractions." You helped me reframe my thinking, and you sent me forward in a way that reminded me because I asked God, I was like, God, just show me. I want to line up with you. I don't want to get in my own way, and I can. I'm real capable. So he sent you to
Mhm.
redirect some of my thinking and reinforce what's really true, and to make that PEACE come alive. You know, is this a word acronymically?
We'll say it is. Listen, honey, this is your platform. You can say what you want to say.
the word came alive acronymically, okay? Because every letter was living and breathing in my life last year, but I had to reset. And in that reset, which is why when you said it, I just sat when I'm like, okay, my reset was taking that time, quieting, separating from all the sound of life, all the sound of life. Even trying to record a podcast, I said, Casey, not this December. I need to breathe. I'm choking over here. Like I really am overcommitted and I'm under resourced spiritually. I need it all to like, how do I mute it all? And so taking that time with that um, and also using my spiritual authority, understanding, expecting detours, but not surrendering to them, knowing that they're going to come, right?
Yes,
but
ma'am.
not surrendering to them, being willing to speak back, respond to the mountains, speak back to
Yeah.
adversity, tell
Yeah.
myself what is true. And you were such an instrument in that. You were just such an instrument in that in so many ways. I can't thank you enough for doing that, for being there, and remind, like, I wasn't too heavy for you.
Well, here's the thing. You have returned the favor to me, right? And so that's part of being a great girlfriend. Like
Yeah.
we have to be able to stand in the gap for one another.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, I need to be able to come to you as a sister, as a friend. If I have to put on pearls and lipstick, that's an appointment.
Right.
And that's not how we roll, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
those are the moments when we should be able to call on our great girlfriends, on our sister friends, and say, hey, this is where I am right now, and I need some support. And we should be okay, right, in doing that. So I appreciate you trusting me with that part of your journey, because sometimes people just want to share the highlight reels, and they don't want to go to that place, and they don't want to be open and transparent. And that's exactly the place where we need to be. And that's
Absolutely.
exactly the place where we need to show up for one another. So I felt honored to be able to go through that particular portion of your journey with you, and that you trusted me enough to share it. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all, great girlfriends. You got to make sure. I think it's so important too, Angela. This is a value point, I think, for relationships. You share this acronym. First of all, your word of the year is shared in your marriage, in your household, in your relationships. The acronym, the accountability to all of those letters should be shared across all relationships, right? Because when it comes time for us to reinforce what's true, what's real, what's possible, and when it's time for us to reclaim our joy and we have to make hard choices, we need the people in our life to know what we're standing for. So it's
Oh,
so like,
absolutely.
right? So it's like we need to take each letter, each piece of that letter, and apply it to a choice. If for me in the mornings, I was surrendered to the East Coast it's still, I still think in EST. My
Yeah.
brain, I have to subtract every time I look at a clock and tell myself, no, PST every day. So when the world starts clicking on EST at 3:30 in the morning and the group texts are moving and the alerts are happening, that's disruptive to my real life. So I have to, for me, for the pause and the stillness, I have to, my do not disturb is on until 8 a.m. PST. Do you understand that's midday in New York? But I can't care about that. I have to do what is
Right.
important for me, which is preserve the quiet and the quality of that morning time so that I can get my mind in a space where I'm ready to take on all the things of the day. Then when it comes to getting to your C, Angela, celebrating small wins is so important. So important. And I don't think we as women do that enough. I think we
We
say,
don't.
all right, I got that. Now's next. We rush past these moments instead of saying, girl, you did
You did that.
did that. That's major.
Yeah. Yeah.
Major. So
Yeah.
how do you
Yeah.
celebrate? How do you like what are
So
some of your ways?
So intentionally, that's
Okay.
the first thing. And I
Okay.
have I keep these notes to myself, like around me in my workspace. And one of them is that um, I am valuable and productive. I am not valuable because. I am productive.
Yeah.
And so I think I've shared that with you before. And the
Mhm.
reason why I have that is because that's why stillness and quiet is so uncomfortable for us, because we feel like if we aren't producing something, we aren't valuable. And
Mhm.
that speaks to how we feel about ourselves and our worth, right?
Mhm.
So when you were saying you set your clock to that time, you're worth waiting for.
Mhm.
So anybody that wants
Mm.
to engage with you, they will wait
Mhm.
until PST to
I
be able
didn't
to.
know that. Like, I didn't know that. That what you just said, I didn't recognize that that was what was hindering me from living in PST.
Yeah, you're worth waiting
That's
for.
very oh, thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, because it's you, right? And so, if people want to engage with you, they come to know how to engage with you. So, if it's
Mhm.
do not disturb, they'll respect that because of
Mhm.
what you bring is specific and it's unique to you. So, I know
Mhm.
that if I need Sybil, she's worth the wait. I will wait.
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
I love the fact that you set that parameter around what works for you, because who is
Mhm.
productive at 3:30?
Mm-mm. Not me. Not me.
Nobody. And so you want
Mhm.
to give the best of you. And so you've got to
Yeah.
set the parameters. So for me, when it comes to small wins, I think every win is a win regardless. And so if it's a day where I'm like, okay, I've had a particularly like rough week,
Mhm.
but I was able to still show up, be 100% myself, that's a win.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are like, I don't feel like it, and then they don't do it. And so I think if we get really intentional about what a win is, as opposed to,
Mhm.
you don't have to have, a big shiny trophy to count it as a win. Did you impact somebody's day in a
Mhm.
positive way?
Mhm.
When you interacted with the people in your life, were they better as a result of that interaction or
Mhm.
not? Those are things we get to choose, right? Those are
Mhm.
all wins. When people leave your presence, what did you leave with them?
Mhm.
Right? Like
Mhm.
energy is infectious. Is your
Right.
energy worth catching? Right? So
Mhm.
like all
Mhm.
of these things are things where I'm like, that's a win, that's a win.
Mhm.
And then the big things come and that's exciting and it's shiny, and
Right.
it gets all of the pub and the press, but the things that really matter are the things that we do day to day. So with that as my mindset, I am programmed, right, to look for a win in the things that most people probably overlook.
That's good. So, I mean, toddlers do it best, right? Toddlers, listen, they can move a block from one from one square to the next. They're like, "I did it! I did it!" And we, the moms, were like, "You did do it." But then when we get to our
Yeah.
own life, we don't celebrate until we're in, at a black tie event, and then we think it's a celebration.
Yeah. And what if you never
Yeah.
get that moment? Does that mean
And you
that you
think
never
you're not
won?
yeah, you think you're not worth celebrating when you are? Yeah.
Every day,
Yeah. Yeah.
every
Oh
day.
my goodness. I consider this a win, Angela, because we committed to this in December and
Mhm.
we decided that this was something that was going to happen because we felt like women need to have and experience these conversations every single month. And we're taking our first step by having one come out today, like doing this today, recording
Yeah.
this as an indicator that this is valuable, it's important, and that it's worth celebrating. And I wanted to celebrate our win today. Let me just give us a little clap up.
And
What
can we also celebrate, like, not just having the idea, but having the idea plus execution and then action, right? Because we have
come
a lot of
on.
great ideas, but we don't put parameters and we don't execute. And shout out to you
Here
for
we are.
putting this in place so we can stay accountable and make this happen.
Oh, we
So I'm
doing it.
I'm excited.
We doing it. We're doing it because I believe that it's going to reinforce some very essential lessons for women in 2024. And my hope is that by the end of one, two, three of these experiences, they any listener has come 1 to 2 to 3 steps closer to fulfilling something very important to their purpose. Like that's my hope and
Yeah,
my dream. And that we can disrupt any patterns of negativity that might hold people stagnant. So that's what the whole mission is. And I know as a mental wealth expert, you are looking to ensure that every woman has the most equitable mental experience, the most
absolutely.
stimulating, like that you have a wholehearted intention to make sure women are equipped mentally and spiritually and emotionally to move the needle in their lives? I know you do.
Well,
I know you
we
do.
have to, because here's the thing. You think about all the roles that you play just in your life, right? There's
Yeah.
so much that women have to carry. We carry everything,
Yeah.
and we prioritize ourselves last usually.
Yeah.
And so that is not a winning formula. It is not sustainable. And so, particularly, it's important to women, but of course, as a woman. And, there are experiences in your life where you're like, it reprioritizes what's important for you. And you're well aware of what mine was, right? So I
Yeah.
had a fatal health scare. And after that, I was like, no, it changes everything. And so the
Mhm.
things that we think are important aren't really that important.
Yeah.
And it helps us reprioritize. So for me, that was an additional catalyst in this space, particularly for women. The other part of that is we don't always have spaces like the Great Girlfriends to have real conversations like this. I
Mhm.
cannot tell you, Sybil, how many times I encounter women, and it can be one encounter, and they will say, I've never been able to express myself like this. And I'm always so saddened because for me, I feel very privileged, as I know you do, that we have multiple spaces where this happens. So what's
Mhm.
missing is because we're not talking about it. Do we just not create awareness around where these conversations are happening? But
Mhm.
women are struggling.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've got to have spaces where we can have these conversations and support them. So that's why I'm passionate about it. One of the many reasons.
Yeah, yeah. And I know you're here for us. I know
Absolutely.
you are.
Yeah,
I know you're here
you're
for us.
always here for me too.
What would you say to the great girlfriend that is like, yeah, easy for you to say, Dr. Angela?
Well, see, I love that question, and let me tell you why. Because I used to say, "Honey, don't let the lipstick and the pearls fool you." Okay,
Yes.
please don't. That is a conscious decision to get up and put this package together. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I'm above a struggle, and so it might
Mm.
look easy to you.
Mhm. Mhm.
But what I say is, I make carrying heavy look easy. That doesn't mean it isn't heavy.
Oh, that's good, Angela. That is so good. Casey's over there nodding. Casey's like, yes. I make carrying heavy look easy. It doesn't mean that it's not heavy. I just make it look easy.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that's not always something that we should be proud of, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we make heavy look easy to our own detriment.
Yeah. The
So
people
people
don't
don't
people
know
like,
how to help us.
yeah. Yeah.
They don't. So I am in the state of unlearning parts of even that,
Mhm.
because I've got to create the space for people to be able to grow and support me as I try to support other people. But
Mhm.
yet, oh, it's heavy.
Mhm.
And it's heavy
Mm.
in ways that people can't even imagine.
So
But it's what we do.
our next conversation is going to be about how do you make the heavy look heavy when you really make it look easy? Like, I think that is where we go next, Angela, because I think that many of us, I myself included, sit in that place where my heavy looks easy to someone else. And I'm like, no, it's actually heavy, guys. Hello. But it just
Mhm,
doesn't look believable. And I'm like,
mhm.
I don't know what you want
Like,
me
I
to cut
mean
off.
it. It
I'm
is.
saying it heavy. You want me to beat myself up? Like, what do you want? Why? I- Communicating it to me means communicating it. However, but people expect heavy to look a certain way. So I think we need to talk through that because I do think that we misunderstand people's pain and struggles just because we have expectations of people sometimes. So it's like, Angela can't be doing that bad. Like, it can't be that heavy. It's
Right,
Angela.
right,
You know what I mean? And so we
right.
we we tend to trivialize people's experiences, and I think we need to learn how to create a space of sensitivity when people are experiencing pain and what
Yeah.
and the pressures.
And I would say, like, in that space, we have our perception of what people are carrying, but you
Yeah,
don't know unless you ask.
right.
And the other part of that is if people ask, we have to be comfortable enough to share what it really looks like.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Because sometimes people, they don't know that they even need to ask because we don't. And so, I've done some thinking about this. And if you've grown up in a situation where, if you didn't do it, it didn't get done, we become programmed to be that way. So we don't
yeah,
we don't know how to ask. and we're not
Yep.
comfortable asking. And so it doesn't matter how much we're carrying. We can be crawling, but we'll still inch forward with that load on our back. And so I am making a conscious decision, and I hope other women are as well, that I'm not doing that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to distribute this heavy a little bit.
Thank you. We're gonna distribute this heavy a lot of bit.
A lot of it.
Oh my gosh. I know I can't keep you forever, but if you don't mind, go back over each acronym, each letter
Yes.
of peace. And then I want to know what the great girlfriends can keep up with you and stay connected.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
then I have an acronym for joy. So, I always like to
Okay.
leave a little joy.
Yeah.
But for peace, it is pause and pray about it. That's the P. E, we have to expect distractions and detours. A, just accept the lessons that come with those distractions. E, we have to embrace change. It's our only constant. And then, and that's the E. And of course, C, I skipped C. We have to celebrate the small wins. So accept the lessons, celebrate the small wins, and then embrace change. So joy, I want to get to that before we go. Just breathe and look for joy on the journey. That's the J. And then I spoke about this earlier. I want us to open our hearts and minds to divine guidance. Sometimes it isn't meant for us to figure it out. Sometimes we need to just go with the flow and act accordingly
Yeah.
and ask for that guidance. And then just the positive, which is the why of joy, is to remember that you will win. Victory is certain. So 100% of the challenges you faced up to this point, you made it.
Yeah.
You overcame them, right? And so if we just
Right.
keep that top of mind, you will win. It might be tough, but victory is certain. So that's how we find joy.
Let me tell you, we need that every single day of 2024. Every single day. Every single day. I thank you so much for that acronym for both peace and joy. Um, Great girlfriends, I hope that this conversation brought you both peace and joy. I hope that these acronyms really help to reinforce that you are destined to win and face every obstacle and overcome them, not succumb to them. And that you're able to do that surrounded in companionship with women who are there to support, love, and anchor you in the most affirming ways. Um, and I hope that Angela, I hope you well, you do know. Let me just say it again. You're such a gift. And
I love you.
it
I love
doesn't
you.
help. It doesn't hurt to tell you 10 more times a day what a gift you are, what a treasure you are, and how much your voice is just required in our world. Like we as women need it. We need more of it. More. And I'm not trying to feel you. I'm not trying to pull more out of you, but we need more of you. However that is, if it's on a mixtape.
Right?
I
Let me take
mean, if
my tour.
we going t-shirts, we going on tour, whatever that is, more is needed. In the meantime, where can we microdose on Dr. Angela?
Yes. So, of course, you can connect with me on my Instagram page. It's at Dr. Angela Speaks. So that's really where I like to do a lot of this work is in that space. So that's the best place to follow. But I just want to say again, thank you for creating this space for me to even come and share some of my thoughts. It's my hope and prayer that somebody gets something out of this conversation. That's the whole point, right? So it's not about me. It isn't even about you. It's about what we are doing to try to help our fellow women and listeners out there. So thank you for this platform. Thank you for creating the space for this conversation and conversations to come, right?
Yes.
And so everybody just look for a little peace and joy.
Yeah. And also look for her best-selling book on Amazon. Hello. Did we forget?
Okay, well,
Are we,
if we want to give the whole rundown, all
don't
right.
we?
So please, on Amazon, I have an international best-selling book. It is called Now What? Get Over Yourself and Move. And it is just what the title says. If you are in that space where you are stuck and you don't necessarily know how to push past where you are and move forward in purpose, the book provides you the information to do that, as well as a framework for a action plan to get you started even before you get out of the book. It is available on Amazon. Now What? Get Over Yourself and Move, Dr. Angela Anderson. So they can actually look it up by my name and find the book. Yeah, so please go get the book and reach out, connect on social media platforms. On LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Angela Anderson. So that's another place where you can connect there professionally. And so, yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Angela. Thank you, great girlfriends, for listening in today. I hope that this message has done everything that you need, everything that you need. And if you have any questions that you'd like to send over or episode suggestions that you want to hear from specifically for Dr. Angela, you can email us at welcome@thegreatgirlfriends.com. Leave all of your reviews on iTunes. Do follow us on YouTube at The Great Girlfriends. And don't forget to check in with your great girlfriends today. A simple I love you text goes a very long way. All right. Love you. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Peace. All right, great girlfriends. Did you enjoy this week's episode of the podcast? If so, would you please give us your amazing review on iTunes? Every single review helps another great girlfriend get plugged into the podcast and the community. Speaking of community, make sure you join our Facebook group at The Great Girlfriends. Follow us on Instagram at The Great Girlfriends and on Twitter at @the_great GFS. I'm Sybil Amuti and I'm out. Peace.